What is up? It's Tuesday, right? Days run together when you just work all day. I was like, damn, is it Tuesday? I thought it was Wednesday. Good God.
Lucky you're not far off there, Brother Chad.
It's better than thinking it's Friday.
Lucky I remembered, Bell. You'd have been here on Friday going, I guess I'm going to have to do the show by myself.
Nah, can it help?
I'm watching. Did you see that Mark Carney was in the White House? That's the new prime minister. He looked a little nervous. Canada, eh?
Probably afraid Trump is going to slap him.
That's it. What do you
Look,
think?
Governor.
He said, I still want to make you guys my 51st. What is that about? Stop it.
He says, is this going to be another Zelensky moment?
Yeah, he says, that's it. Where's JD? Right? Where's JD and the guy?
Sick him, JD.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, why would you say, like, we're going to be friends? You know, I don't need to sign anything. Somebody signing something. I know that. But I like the fact that he keeps saying that we're going to be. Do you realize that if they became the 51st state, Republicans
You're out.
are done?
Well, yeah, they'd be
You
toast.
are finished.
You guys get that, right? Does everybody understand that if they became the 51st state, that they would have God knows how many congressional seats, they'd have 2 more Senate seats, and that'd be that.
It's the very reason Puerto Rico isn't a state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can offer them $5,000 to have a baby.
Oh, good God. Is that $5,000? That's not going to. Man, I did a thing last night talking about how bad it is in the dating world, but also how low the births are. It's getting worse. We are in a lot of trouble. And, you know, nobody talks about it because, but there was an article in The Atlantic saying women are marrying down. And I thought to myself, because a guy doesn't have the education? So wait, like my buddy, right? His wife's got like a master's degree. She does. He's a big time. He has like a plumbing company now and stuff. He makes money hand over fist. He always has. By the way, you know what? She has debt. You know what? He doesn't have debt. Well, I mean, like outside of his boat, because for whatever reason, people love boats.
I mean, rich got to have a boat. Got to have something to sink your money into.
But
Think your money pit somewhere.
It's a psychological thing. I mean, if you are a guy and you have dirt under your nails, even if you make 6 figures, a woman will think, I would rather date a guy who makes $60,000 a year and who has lots of debt and a job where he wears a tie than a dude who has a uniform and a truck. And somehow that's dating down.
Is that why I'm single?
That is not why there are plenty of reasons why you're single, and you do not have. By the way, guys, let's hear it for Bell today. Got rid of those nasty shoes. Got himself new shoes,
Stop
baby.
it.
Way to go, Brother Bilal.
Stop it.
Phenomenal. But yeah, I was watching that thing about like dating, and I read this article, and I was just like, the way that women look at men nowadays is crazy. How bad that educated women look at men who are quote unquote uneducated. You know who's got an education? Zuckerberg's wife. He didn't finish college. I wonder what he's doing.
He's probably going to go back.
Probably. Soon. Right after he becomes the world karate champion or whatever he's doing.
I'm going to have to learn a trade in case this meta thing doesn't work out.
Oh, God.
He'll buy the college and give himself a degree.
That's right. That's when you buy the college, or when you put they call that rich people graffiti, when you put your name on a building.
Yeah.
That's rich people graffiti. That's phenomenal. Let's hear what some of Trump and our good buddy Carney got up to.
Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada. Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And no, I love Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky, the great one. You happen to have a very, very good hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of respect. He is a big, tough cookie, too. Just broke the record.
Who's not
And
Canadian,
he's a
by
great
the way.
guy. And we had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players. But now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
I love, the guy that broke the record? Yeah, it's phenomenal Canadian, except for the part where he's from Russia.
It's so special. We're going to make it to 51st state.
He just throws stuff out there, doesn't he?
I call it trumping. He's just trumping.
Yeah.
He's just going along, man.
Is that a new word for trolling, Ken?
Yes.
Trumping.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just throwing some stuff. I'm going to throw some wacky stuff out there and see what works.
I love Canada. It's a nice
Canada. You
place.
guys have phenomenal, like the coffee. It's good.
Yeah.
It's great. That's great. You guys like hockey. That's
Nothing
good.
better than poutine.
Gretzky's good. He's good, people. Gretzky has lived in Canada for like 40 years, lives in Los Angeles with his Olympic wife. We have a guy here who plays hockey. He broke the record, right? Great Canadian Russian guy. He's a machine. He just throws crap out there. It's funny. It is. Look, some of the stuff he does drives me crazy, but that kind of stuff, because you know the guy's going, what is he talking about? Ovechkin is not a Canadian name.
Is he going to start yelling at me?
I wore a tie. Oh, my Lord. There you go. I can't, do you think Xi's going to come here? Or they're going to have to meet somewhere in the middle?
No, they would have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Well,
man.
you know
I
what?
agree.
There's some serious issues with Xi when it comes to his health, too.
Really?
That they're hiding as much as they can. I don't know what it is. But he's had more than a few moments where they're questioning, can he make it through whatever how long he's going to serve? Because remember, they changed their constitution.
Oh, he can go forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the president for life thing may not be that long of a term after all.
Yeah. So no doubt about that. So tomorrow's the big day, guys.
What's that?
It's Popin' Day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So this is it. So this is what I found out. They're going to go into the little area today and they'll shut everything off. So they're all going to be behind closed doors. And the first day, they vote one time. Just once. Then if they don't get it, the next day they vote 3 times. Then they take a day off, if it's not going well, to try to see if they can, get anybody, hey, what about this? And then the max now is 33 votes. So at 33 votes, then they pick the top 2 vote getters and they have a runoff. And they have to have a breakdance competition. I think the Australian one's going to win.
They have to have a breakdance competition in full regalia.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that breakdance. That
Australian girl?
Australian. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God. What was her name?
I
She was
can't
so
remember.
awesome. She was the worst.
The looks on the judges' faces.
And her competition.
were
Like,
priceless.
did she just do some sort of weird kangaroo hop in front of me? Making the face? Spectacular. You know what? There may have not been, for me, I was so excited to watch the breakdancing. I thought this is going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
And then she came out and she ruined everything for everybody.
And now they're not doing it anymore.
Now they're like, we're not going to do this again. We're not. We're going to put kickball in before we do this again. Oh, that'd be fun, too.
Dodgeball.
Well, I never did figure out if she was just trolling or was it serious?
Ray Gun. That's right. Rachel Ray Gun. That's it.
I mean, that was.
No, I think she was serious. See, the whole thing, I think she thought it was interpretive dance, but I think she thought all of us have to do something that aligns with our country.
Oh, okay.
I think that was her thought process. And it was awful.
It was.
It was, you embarrassed yourself in front of the world. And then you were awful about it, right? And then, let's be real, the Australians weren't great about it either because they kind of came to her defense, but at the same time, they were also pissed because you took a spot from somebody who could break dance.
Right.
Brian on the text line said the Predators should take their lackluster draft pick for a Pope vote.
Oh, the Pope vote. So there's 136 voting tomorrow. So there's 240 Cardinals plus. If you're over 80, you can come, you can talk, but you can't vote, which is weird. I can see why nobody could vote for you, but what happens if you're 80? Like, what happens if you're 79 going into 80 and you become 80, if the goal is, okay, you can't be Pope, well, if you can't vote, you shouldn't be Cardinal either if they don't trust you that much.
Seems like it.
Am I right? So this will be cool, though. And I said today, I rolled it out again. This is it, guys. 10 days for Bell. Bell thinks they're going all the way to the mat.
I think it's going to take a while.
Ken's got 7 days.
7 days, baby.
And I'm going till the weekend. I said Sunday. Because I have a feeling they're going to get it done. Well, I don't think they'll get it done through the first 2 votes, which means Friday would be a day off.
I think there's a split in the Cardinals right now between people that like a more progressive pope and people that want the more traditional kind of.
Yeah, that's going to be it.
And I think that's what's going to cause it to go a few rounds.
And what's his name? The guy that has been the second in charge underneath the last pope, Pio Parolin, is now the bookie favorite, who is kind of, it's like, think of him more as a corporatist. Like they're moving back towards the traditional, not going super traditional, but they're moving back enough that it's, he'll still keep some of the stuff that this pope did, but he's also one that everybody feels comfortable with. So the guy, the Asian guy, he has moved Tagle second, and Turkson, the guy from Africa, is now third betting favorite.
So the guy who's underneath the
secretary, essentially, he was his secretary.
and is he Italian?
Yeah, he is.
Of course.
Right? Like, that's ridiculous. By the way, I got some really cool stuff about the popes later, like how powerful they were. I don't know how powerful you guys think they are, but they were very powerful back in the day. And if you don't believe me, Crusades. Think about that, Apple. A lot of stuff to get today. We're going to talk a little bit about the insanity that's going on here in Nashville with ICE, with the freaking out. And look, I understand some fears, but it's getting national attention. I covered today on my national show as well, some of the stuff happening and the way that people are acting, which at times is just, again, the frustration level is through the roof. And we can't have nice things because we can't have a conversation in this country. Talk a little bit about that. Great, interesting story about COVID and how bad kids were screwed by a person who is on the left, who wrote a book about 500 pages long, essentially saying, yeah, it was all politics. It was all tribal. To the point where he said, if Trump came out and the guideline was let kids go back to school, and Trump would say, yes, let them go back, the next day they would change the guideline saying we have to keep them out of school, which is crazy. That and a bunch of other things to get to. Reach out to us across all of our social media. Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. All right, guys. Let's talk about Raycon. So, Dad, now it's your turn to be celebrated after this weekend. So, Raycon's got something for you, 25% off. So, you can go to their website. Man, you can see all the cool things they got. But the everyday earbuds, I'm telling you guys right now, under $100, best earbuds around. If your dad loves to work out, maybe, you know what, you're listening for your husband or whatever, and you know they love to work out, they love great sound, this delivers it over and over again. So you go to buyraycon.com/chat. You get a 30-day happiness guarantee. Tons of colors to choose from. But when you talk, like for me, I work out, they never fall out of my ears. They fit and feel incredible. I barely feel that they're there, which is awesome. And like when I go golfing, I can swing away and not worry about them flying off, which is awesome. So get yourself some everyday earbuds for the man in your life, the person you love, or maybe for yourself as well. And save big. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad now, and it is off across the entire site. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad.
All right, drivers in Franklin got road work. It's blocking the off-ramp 65 northbound to go eastbound on 840, and then that same road work blocking the right lane 840 eastbound right there at 65. And a sigh of relief about those real IDs and tomorrow's deadline. Tell you about that more at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The first round of questions was really focused more generally on what they know about the case. Given that Sean Diddy Combs is as famous as he is, they wanted to know what evidence they might have seen and if these potential jurors can actually be fair and unbiased in weighing the evidence that they see in the courtroom. And then they were asked more about their personal lives, including educational background, news habits, and music taste.
Yeah, they were probably asked, hey, anybody here a swinger? Just curious. When I say pineapple, what do you guys think?
Pizza.
Did you hear that? There's a questionnaire you have to go through because it talks about some of the stuff you're going to see is, how should we say this? A bit risque.
The jury questionnaire warning potential jurors there may be evidence of sexually explicit videos, photographs, and language. Many prospective jurors said they had heard of the case and potentially damning evidence. Video first obtained by CNN showing Combs knocking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura to the floor of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 and kicking and dragging her.
Yeah, so they got to get it down to, was it 49 jurors or 46 jurors today? And then they're going to weed it out from there. And in a case like this is all about the jurors. If you get the right jurors, you either try to hang it as much as you possibly can, because you're not. It's interesting when you go and see what he's charged with. He's not charged with any of the horror stuff that you would think of, the sex of the underage girls. What he's charged with, though, is that RICO Act. And the RICO Act is very much, it kind of, everything encompasses it. So it could be any one of those things. But the one thing that I keep wondering is, how do you have a conspiracy for yourself? Nobody else has been charged. So if Bell gets charged with a conspiracy for something, whatever it is, how is it if it's only Bell? What's your conspiracy?
Yeah, you got to have at least two people for a conspiracy.
Uh-huh. I would think so. And there's never been anybody else charged. Now, civilly, he and a bunch of other people have been charged, and some of those have been dropped and thrown out, and he's settled with some. But I do believe that, I mean, we all know he's going, and like we said yesterday, his whole goal is he's going to take everybody down, as many as possible, which will be, and you know what sucks? There's no cameras in the courtroom, which I thought there would be, but there is no cameras in the courtroom, which it sucks. Oh, goodness me. Because, I mean, because you're not going to get the Epstein trial. That's gone. He's dead. Right? And I think Diddy will make it to trial. They're putting a lot of effort to get him there. So you're good. This is the best you're going to get. And that whole thing with Epstein, right? Every time I turn around, I just waiting for Kash Patel and all these people to release that stuff. I don't think that stuff's ever coming out. And the reason? The juicy stuff probably already been destroyed if there is a bunch of juicy stuff. And the other side of it is there may be people involved that have enough power to put a stop to it. And I know that's like, how can that be? Because that's the world that, unfortunately, we live in. And people can do that kind of stuff again. Unfortunately, all those people that were hurt and wounded, all those people who were used and abused, it's unfortunate. It is. And it sucks. So, I mean, you'd like to think that they're going to release something, but you would think by now they don't even talk about it anymore. They just act like it never happened. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. Nothing happened. I'm going to read you guys this. You guys ready? Here we go. Nashville, get ready to blush. Sixth annual Nashville Rose Festival is coming to East Park on Saturday, May 17th. Sipping over 100 rose wines, plus cocktails, brews, and more. Enjoy live DJs, performance art, food truck, and support the Tennessee Breast Cancer Coalition. Listen all week for your chance to win a mom tickets, so mom tickets to Nashville Rose Festival on the 17th at East Park, just in time for Mother's Day. For more details or to sign up, go online to 997WTN.com/contest. Just for mom. Who's the best TV mother of all time? If we were to have a competition, which we should have a competition for who's the best TV mom of all time. Think about it. I'm going to give you guys 10 names, and then we'll break it down. Because Mother's Day's coming up. We all grew up with a lot of these people. We need to figure out, well, we're going to pit them against one another on who's the best TV mother of all time. Plus, a lot of other good stuff coming up as well. So much interesting stuff. Yeah, we got a little tariff talk. Maybe not as much as maybe people will think. A little Alcatraz. We've got fun stuff with Alcatraz because it's fun, right? And I think
How do you call someplace The Rock without it being fun?
I know. He's probably going, somebody get Connery on the phone. Where's Nicolas Cage? Hey, did you watch that movie yet? Willy's Wonderland?
No.
You guys, you got to watch Willy's Wonderland. If I tell you once, if you've never seen it, it's Nicolas Cage in one of his finest performances.
Five Nights at Willy's.
Where he says nothing. You know what? It's Five Nights at Willy's, but if Five Nights at Willy's was rated NC-17 for the violence. That's what it is. It's fantastic. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now, News 2 says a Davidson County grand jury's indicted a former lieutenant with Metro Nashville Police on several charges related to the alleged leak of the Covenant school shooter's writings. Sigh of relief, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling a congressional panel those who still lack an identification that complies with the Real ID law by tomorrow's deadline will still be able to fly. It might just take you longer to get through TSA. And speaking of flying, reinforcements coming to Newark Liberty International Airport to help direct airplanes in and out of the busy airspace. The FAA sending air traffic control supervisors to help after major delays and cancellations have hit the airport for more than a week. We get more from ABC Sam Sweeney.
The FAA air traffic control supervisors are among the most experienced controllers around the country, and they will help bring some sort of emergency relief to this situation at Newark Airport. But this, again, is not an overnight fix. Just because they're experienced, they still have to learn the ins and outs of this airspace.
And in an ABC News exclusive, the FBI now says it has growing concerns about an online group known as 764. Its members target teens on social media platforms, then convince them to take part in dangerous behavior. David Scott's the FBI's assistant director of the Counterterrorism Division. He spoke with ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
They will encourage them sometimes to commit suicide. They will encourage them to do cutting. They will encourage them to harm their pets.
They're using basically psychological warfare on children.
That's right. They gain the trust, and then they continue to build that trust to the point where they have power and the ability to blackmail the child, basically.
And new research claims getting a shingles vaccine may help with more than the viral infection that causes painful rashes. It can also lower the risk of heart disease. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
More rain returns to the mid-state. I'm WSMV4 First Alert Meteorologist Stefano DiPietro. Plenty of sunshine today. Temperatures are in the 70s this afternoon. Tomorrow you'll want to keep the umbrella handy for a few rain showers throughout the day. We will stay near 70 tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. A couple of rain showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder, but still we stay in the 70s for the end of the week, drying things out for the weekend, getting some sunshine back slowly Saturday and through Sunday with highs eventually near 80.
All right, guys. Beacon Capital Management. They're local right here. And when you think retirement, everybody thinks, dollars and cents. Am I going to outlive my retirement? Beacon's more than that. That's what I want you to do. They've got a retirement ready toolkit. I want you to call them today, 615-488-9303. 615-488-9303. They're local. Go over there and see them. They're all encompassing, as I like to say. And that's wonderful. Yes, dollars and cents matter, but so does things like healthcare. Oh, estate planning, tax planning, those things do matter. And when you get the Retirement Ready Toolkit, it's free. It's not going to cost you anything. It comes with a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. Sit down, talk with them, see what they have, especially if you're close to retirement or at retirement. See what they can do for you at Beacon. No cost, no obligation, no pressure. Get your Retirement Ready Toolkit today. 615-488-9303. 615-488-9303 or online at AskBeaconNow.com. All right, guys, I've got the ultimate competition. Best moms on TV ever. So this was compiled
Peggy
by
Bundy.
This was compiled by not me. And it's a bracket. So be ready. You guys ready for this? Here we go. Carol Brady versus June Cleaver, and the winner is
June Cleaver.
Carol Brady.
Oh, I'm the tiebreaker. I'm going to go with June.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, okay.
It's better looking.
Kitty Foreman, 70 Show versus Marge Simpson.
Marge.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Marge.
I really don't care about that one.
Yeah, okay.
Marge
Claire
isn't pouring half a bottle of tequila into a blender on
which
a meme.
makes
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, maybe Claire Huxtable should have done better, and Camila Soprano.
Oh, Claire.
Yeah, Claire.
Ken?
Don't you think?
I like The Soprano.
Yeah, but Claire really should have watched her husband. She's a good mom, but she was a crappy wife.
That's true.
Because of the things where he drugged everybody.
That's true.
Rebecca Pearson, This Is Us versus Lorelai Gilmore.
From the Gilmore Girls?
Yeah.
Lorelai.
Yeah, I would go with her too.
I don't know them.
Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek, which is the name of the show, so don't even say anything.
Spelled with a C.
Spelled with a C. And Rainbow Johnson of Blackish.
I'm going with Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I agree.
Me too. Claire Dunphy, Modern Family versus Carolyn Ingalls.
Oh, well,
Caroline Ingalls wins.
How do you diss Little House on the Prairie?
Yeah.
I don't know. Her stepson got addicted to heroin.
Yeah, that's
Stepson. He was doomed to go.
Which
down
is
a bad
weird
path.
because you didn't think he was all into fentanyl. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Here we go. Tammy Taylor, Friday Night Lights versus Sophia Petrillo from the Sophia from the Golden Girls.
Sophia.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sophia. And Maria Barone of Everybody Loves Raymond versus Vivian Banks, Fresh Prince. Aunt Viv.
No, I'm going to go with Raymond's mom.
Yeah. So, all right. So here we go. We've got June versus Marge. I'm going June.
I'm going to go June, too.
Yeah, June.
Yeah, June wins that one.
June was smart enough not to marry a lunatic who was destined to blow up the planet.
Yeah. So Claire Huxtable, great wife, not bad, bad wife, but great mom. Versus the Gilmore Girl. Gilmore, she's through. The Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek.
Moira.
Yeah. Really? Versus Caroline.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Little House.
Yes.
Oh, well.
No, never even close.
Come on, we got to mix it up a little bit.
It's the best moms in TV history, guys.
Yeah.
Where's Lucy?
That was kind of an odd time. I don't really talk about that, because of the way those people acted back then. You know what I'm talking about?
Sleeping in separate beds like weirdos.
Caroline. I'm going to go with Caroline Ingalls.
Okay.
How can he not? Just because we like saying the other things. Sophia from the Golden Girls versus Mrs. Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Sophia.
Yeah.
All right. So June versus Claire.
June.
Caroline versus Sophia.
Sophia.
June versus Sophia.
June.
And the winner is?
June.
Mrs. Beaver.
Mrs. Beaver.
You were awfully hard on the Beaver. Everybody was waiting for that.
I'd love to leave it to Beaver. My favorite episode was whenever Beaver fell into that fake coffee cup that was on the billboard.
Oh, God, that was
great. And they couldn't get him out.
That was great.
That kid was a little lunatic who caused more problems than he was probably worth.
Gosh, Wally. It's kind of weird that you're doing that, Wally.
On account of.
That's so, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you had Eddie Haskell.
Yeah.
Like, Eddie was a politician before politicians.
Yes, without a doubt.
That guy was the biggest suck-up in the world.
You look really nice today, Mrs. Cleaver.
Mrs. Cleaver.
Shut up, Wally.
Mrs. Cleaver, you're looking great right now, you know?
Eddie.
And he was right.
He was. There you go, man. A lot of you chimed in on that. The Gilmore Girl was a terrible mom. Edith Bunker.
Oh, man, what a sweetie she was.
Olivia Walton. Everybody loves Mrs. C. Yeah, she wasn't on there. Peg Bundy was phenomenal.
Peg Bundy, Mrs. C, yeah.
Yeah. Lois Griffin. I love Lois.
Any woman that is actively smoking a cigarette while scrambling eggs, I think you got to give her a little bit of props.
She wanted to be a teenager like her daughter. That's why she was awful in the Gilmore Girls.
Well, this is the same case with Peg Bundy, too.
Yes. There's no doubt about that. Edith was great. I loved Edith. She was great. She had to put up with Archie.
She did.
She just wouldn't stifle.
No, what a great show.
It really was.
That was such an amazing show. If you've ever watched, you know what's funny too about the shows nowadays when you go back, like, and you see it too, Ken, if you watch any of the Westerns, it's always something about cultural appropriation. They always put some warning up. Look.
They do that on Bonanza now too.
Yeah.
They say it has outdated cultural references.
Look, you're going to notice that these Native Americans are all Mexican guys that are actors and Italians. They're going to call them things that are really uncomfortable. So, and you're like, oh. And same thing with, like, Archie's going to say inappropriate things because that's what he did. And he's going to say stuff that's sexually inappropriate about, the gays.
And he's going to flush a toilet. He's going to flush a toilet on TV for the first time.
Yep. No, Mrs. Brady, June Cleaver. Not June Beaver. Yeah, I know that. We're having fun.
June Beaver.
You guys need to relax. We're having fun. Oh, you know who wasn't on there? We didn't have Mrs. Munster. She's great.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you didn't
Mrs.
have the
Munster.
Addams Family, Morticia.
Morticia.
Morticia was smoking hot. Who was the hottest TV mom?
Well, I tell you, the Munsters mom.
She was, yeah.
What's her name? DeCarlo?
Yeah.
Von DeCarlo.
Yeah. She was pretty hot.
I don't know, man. Mrs. C really did it for me.
Oh, really?
I freaking loved Mrs. C.
You ever find out what happened to Chuck?
He just vanished.
Did he go to Vietnam?
He just left, man. Did he go to Vietnam?
I don't know. Remember, there were 2 Chucks, too. That's the funniest thing about Happy Days. There were 2 Chucks, and he was only in 3 episodes.
Yeah, he was the big athlete.
Yeah.
He was the athlete.
Roseanne was another one that some people thought would be a good one.
Oh, yeah. Terrible person, but, great mom.
Watch out for that Ambien. Oh, my God. If you guys don't know what that is, it was not a very good situation for Ambien. So that was pretty funny. Let's see here. There's a lot of Edith Bunker, Carol Burnett. Yeah, but Carol Burnett didn't.
She wasn't known as
What
being
about,
somebody's
what's her
mom.
name? Vicky from Mama's House.
Oh, yeah. Vicki Lawrence.
Yeah. Jill from Home Improvement, our good buddy over there at Busy Bee Hits It Up. Brock said, Jill from Home Improvement. Morticia Adams was hot. Donna Reed, yeah, she's great.
What about Elizabeth Montgomery?
Oh,
yeah.
Bewitched.
Oh. That was a great show.
Not only is she hot, but she's magic.
Jeannie never had any. No, Jeannie's magic.
No, so is Elizabeth.
That's right.
Jeannie's really magic.
Yeah.
Jeannie was a genie, but Elizabeth was a witch.
She was a witch. Voodoo. Those are some of the moms here. Samantha Stevens, there you go.
And her
Shirley
mom was
Partridge, Aunt B.
Aunt B was an ant. A literal ant.
Harriet Nelson. The lady from Who's the Boss has got a lot of shout-outs here.
June Smart. What was her? Edith Smart or something?
I don't know. She ended up, I
What
forgot
is her name?
I don't know. Laura Petrie. She was hot. No, she was good.
What was Ross and Monica's mother? Geller something.
I don't know. Which
Was it
one
Amanda?
Was it?
No, that may have been a real name.
I don't know. I didn't watch that many Friends. That's weird, right?
That is weird.
It's in Europe. People ask me all the time, you watch Friends? I'm like, no.
It was huge in Europe.
No, I don't. I have Friends. I don't watch it, okay? You turds.
I have both.
Judith Light. That
Judith
was her
Light.
name on Who's
Barbara
the Boss.
Eden.
Barbara Eden, yes.
Granny Clampett, please.
Gene
Granny
Smart.
Clampett.
You know what's scary, guys? When you go back and you look and you find out that the Golden Girls were all younger than us.
Yes.
And the kids were all older than the mom.
Yeah, Tool Time Mom. That's all you need to say, Tool Time Mom. Donna Dixon. Nathan from Busy Bee chiming in. Donna Dixon from, that was Chandler's mom. Who would win in a fight?
No, Chandler's mom was, what's her name?
Shelley Long, wasn't it?
No, it was from the woman from Dynasty.
Linda Evans.
No?
No?
No, it wasn't Linda Evans. Now it's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah, she's going to drive you nuts. The nanny. She's not a mom, but still. Cartman's
Fran
mom.
Dresser.
Who would win in a fight? Bewitched or Jeannie?
Morgan Fairchild.
Oh, Morgan Fairchild. That's it.
That was Chandler's mom.
I would say Bewitched would win. I would say Elizabeth Montgomery would win.
Now, how could she win?
Well, I mean, she's a witch, man. She's got more powers.
Not than a genie. Dude, she's been around for like 5,000 years. She's stuck in a bottle for a lot of time, but she's been around for a long time. You know what I never figured out? And they never answered this, and they probably should have?
What's that?
Did your powers work inside the bottle?
Now that's a good question.
So you're stuck in there forever long until, right, like till he finds you. And then, but like, did your powers work in there? I don't know. Like I wanted, it was one of, like as a kid growing up, I always wanted to know.
See, Samantha could have tricked Jeannie into the bottle. Then she could have capped the bottle and just thrown it off in the ocean somewhere.
Oh, look
or
at
just
you.
made it disappear.
That is possible.
Could have had her mom and Dora help her.
Dora the Explorer? That's weird. Oh, see, guys, we talk about real stuff. You know what's funny, though? What's blowing up? Our lines, our text lines. More people are like, yeah, this is better than tariffs. So you think Jeannie would lose?
I think so, because I think she'd be tricked back into the bottle. Samantha would cap it, and then winkle her nose, and then it's gone.
Back into you make it sound like she's going back. She's back in the bottle, guys.
Back into the bottle, boys.
Oh my! Did you know do you know they're rebooting Little House?
Really?
They announced the cast yesterday.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop it.
You know, they are. They're all Asian, but it's weird.
I was getting ready to say,
You know,
how
it's
woke
Netflix,
is
so it's
this
gonna be
gonna
like-
be?
Like, you guys didn't know that Laura was trans? No, I didn't. I was unaware of that.
Well, you know now.
No, it's they got a whole new, like, the cast looks pretty, young, much younger.
I think the best father on TV was Kathleen Turner when she played Chandler's dad.
Oh, that's right. That's what somebody said about that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Cartman's, not Cartman, but Giggity. His dad is his mom.
Oh, yeah. and Brian the dog dated her.
That's right. Oh, my Lord. This is what we talk. Guys, we give you real stuff because, it's Mother's Day. We should celebrate moms.
That's right.
We joke about this stuff, but, we all grew up, every one of you listening grew up watching some of these shows. And it was awesome. It was, you'd come home in the middle of the day and the Partridge Family or Brady Bunch would be on. And, Ann B. Davis never got the love she should have, but, we love Alice. Oh, Ann B. Davis.
Ann B. Davis.
What's the butcher delivering, huh, Sam?
Oh.
Coming up, we'll talk about more adult things or not. And next hour, we're going to have the worst moms on television. Who are they? I'll give you a whole rundown of that as
Peg
well.
Bundy.
She was the worst in the kind of fun way because she threw down.
Yeah, she did throw down.
It is the Chad Bench Show, Super Talk 99.7. Prize Picks is awesome. Right now, you win up 2,000 times your money. It's Tuesday, so they got a great promo, 15 to 25% discounted for the opportunities that are out there when it comes to your play, which is great. And you have a chance every time you play to get into a VIP running to go see the championship in basketball. You and a friend. VIP. Super stylish, cool, awesome. What is Prize Pick? You download the app, use my code Chad. It's more, it's less. It's that simple. It's above, it's below. Do you think this team will strike out more than 7 times? Do you think, this player will strike out more than 7 batters? Do you think, and whoever that, your favorite pitcher is, it's not teams, it's players. Do you think that Shohei Ohtani will get more than 1.5 hits, or that great Canadian hockey player, Ovechkin, will score more than 1.5 goals? It's that simple. And every time you play, you get a chance to win. But the first time you play $5 lineup, you get $50 instantly in your account, win or lose. Have a chance to win 2,000 times your money right now. Go Plays Prize Picks. It takes about 60 seconds. Download the app and get your money instantly when you win as well. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be 21. Present in Tennessee. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-426-2537.
A Davidson County grand jury has indicted a former lieutenant with the Metro Nashville Police Department on several charges related to the alleged leak of the Covenant school shooters' writings. We've got that and more coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So we've got it, guys. I have figured out who would win in the fight between Bewitched and Jeannie.
Okay.
So Jeannie's powers are amazing. So is Samantha's, right? She's a witch.
Yeah.
Spells. Jeannie's power is raw and flashy, often bending the laws of physics and reality itself. She is immortal. Samantha is strategic, quick-witted, and disciplined. She outsmarts her opponents. She's very clever. The winner would be Jeannie. The reason, she has limitless power and she is immortal, which Samantha, unfortunately, has mortal witchcraft. Now you guys know.
Well, Jeannie was too stupid to actually find somebody that would appreciate her powers, though.
But she lived next door to Paul Lynde, so...
Paul Lynde?
Wasn't Paul Lynde?
No.
No, that was Bewitched.
That was Bewitched,
Yeah.
which is the greatest place to be, by the way. Paul Lynde, that's who I think wins everything.
But see, Jeannie can be stuck in a bottle. And if she's not found...
But she's immortal. You can't destroy her, though.
Yeah, but you can leave her in that
she'll
bottle
just be
forever.
she'll
But
just
you
live
got
in
to
that
get her
bottle.
in the bottle.
Well, I mean,
Ken's
I still...
right. Ken's right.
Yeah, Samantha could trick her into that
Yeah,
bottle.
but you guys are all thinking that it's going to be a one thing, and she's going to trick her, and she's going into the bottle. She's immortal. She's not an idiot.
No, I would just, I would
I don't
bury
know.
her.
I could argue the idiot part.
Yeah, if I was Samantha, I'd stick her in the bottle, then I'd create a gigantic hole in my backyard, stick the bottle in the bottom of it, and then put the hole back.
So what they're saying is by round 3, Jeannie's immortality gives her an edge in a prolonged fight, as Samantha could tire or face spell mishaps. Oh, Samantha's resourcefulness and potential
true.
allies. Here's where she can level the playing ground, they say, though. She's got to bring in help. Because you're dealing with something that is immortal and also not real. By the way, I was joking when I said...
What do you mean that's not real?
Oh, jeez. When I said earlier about the great Canadian hockey player Ovechkin,
Yeah.
somebody said, what are you talking about? Ovechkin, a great American hockey player? I said, first of all, no, Canadian. Joking. I'm pretty sure he's Russian. He is Russian. That was in the context of Trump having the Prime Minister, Carney, of Canada there today. And in the middle of it, he talks about, you got great hockey players, Wayne Gretzky, great. We got a guy here, just broke the record. Goes off on like, there's a great Canadian hockey player in D.C., and that's the Russian guy. Ovechkin. It's phenomenal. And Ovechkin's one of those few Russians that is so beloved by Putin. Like, he's beloved by Putin. There may not be another human that's not related to him. And even at that point in time, I mean, I don't even know. But other than Putin, other than Ovechkin, Ovechkin is that beloved by him. Like, celebrated. He's the kind of thing where if Putin lives another 20 years, Ovechkin will get his own currency.
The Pooter loves Ovechkin.
The Pooter does. Chris says they wouldn't fight. They would be friends. Jeannie is also hotter. That is also true. Oh, here we go. I've been sitting around listening to a bunch of guys taking bong rips for the last half hour. What would you like to talk about, sir? 65, 82?
That is completely untrue. None of us have done a bong
None of us
rip.
have hit the bong.
And Ken and I are the only ones who would, and we haven't, and we would do deltas anyway.
Yeah, see? See? But you tell us what you can produce the show for the next half an hour. You let us know what you would want to hear.
Chad Benson, teetotaler, the only show that's only about pot.
That's right. That's what I always get called. Pot. And what's the new thing yesterday? Oh, I hate the Catholics. That was the new thing.
Yeah.
Every day it's something with you people. Every day. Coming up. Next hour. A lot of fun. Who knows what? Whatever this person wants, we're going to do. That's what we do. We're playing the hits, guys. Make sure you know where to text the program to play the hits. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
1 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we've still got some road work. Off-ramp block 65 northbound to eastbound 840 in Williamson County. Also 840 eastbound there at 65. Same thing. Right lane blocked by that road work. Full forecast in 5 minutes. News 2 says a Davidson County grand jury has indicted a former lieutenant with Metro Nashville Police on several charges related to the alleged leak of the Covenant school shooters' writings. Garrett Davidson was arrested by TBI agents in Portland and Robertson County on 2 separate indictments today. 1 count of theft, 2 counts of burglary, 30 counts of official misconduct. The second indictment charges Davidson with 6 counts of official misconduct related to the Covenant school shooting. He was booked into the Davidson County Jail on a $150,000 bond. And a headache for hundreds of United Airlines passengers in San Francisco after 2 jumbo jets touch wings. The 2 flights canceled.
A United Airlines Boeing 777 leaving for Sydney, Australia, was pushing back from a gate in San Francisco early Tuesday morning when its right wingtip hit the wingtip of another 777 that was heading out to Hong Kong. When planes are pushing back, they're under the control of a tug and its driver. The pilots are not controlling it. United says nobody was injured and the over 500 passengers on the 2 planes are being accommodated. Alex Stone, EBC News.
President Trump talking to Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House today.
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now.
Talking about the old trade deal, turning it into a new trade deal. The meeting comes on the heels of Carney winning his election recently while pushing back on President Trump's tariff policies. And there is this on the conflicts in the Middle East.
President Trump said it's not a deal with the Houthis, but says the rebel group announced they, quote, don't want to fight anymore.
We will honor that, and we will stop the bombings.
The U.S. has declared success in bombing the Houthis, including a massive March 15th strike, but it's also been very costly. The U.S. has lost 7 Reaper drones since that date, each drone costing $30 million. The president said the Houthis have, quote, capitulated. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Day 2 of jury selection in the trial for Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy on trial for sex trafficking and racketeering. So far, the 19 potential jurors selected for the jury pool not seated.
We know that not a single juror has been seated, but 19 prospective jurors, they did make it through day 1 yesterday. They were sent home last night and instructed very specifically by the judge to not read or listen to anything about the case.
That's Rena Roy reporting. And the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Trump meets with Canada. Guess what he said? What Trump loves to say.
Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things.
You've got free military now. Nobody's going to attack Canada. Do you honestly think that we were going to allow, let's say China invaded Canada tomorrow, we're going to be like, yeah, it's fine. We'll let that happen. No.
Well, and he already said in the same press conference, he already said we will never let somebody attack Canada.
Yeah.
We will always protect Canada.
Yeah, of course. Just like, you know what? Whether people want to believe it or not, same thing with Mexico. If China rolled into Mexico, they would start rolling all over them, and then they would find out, here comes the Yanks, right? They've crossed over the border. Thank God they're here, because we're not going to let that happen. Whether people want to believe it or not, they, you know, what did Jan Toss say? It's easy to be the hippie, free, swinging brother when you got a Snuggie of America right next to you. You know, we got our top hat and our Huaraches. It's never going to happen. I mean, he plays the game, and we get it. And, you know, the media runs around, oh, my God, did you see what Trump did? He's just so, God, he was so mean to... Carney looked terrified, because I think you're right, man. I think he thought there were going to be 40 people in the room, and he was going to get yelled at.
Is JD Vance going to come at me?
You know what's weird? I haven't seen JD in a few days.
He was there.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't like, because normally, right, in a situation like that, he's on the couch or right next to him.
Yeah, he and Marco were on the couch.
Oh, Marco. They're like, Marco, we also want you to be the ambassador to Canada. Little Marco.
You're already wearing
Trump's already volunteered Marco as the VP for a Vance ticket.
Oh, I know. That's how many jobs this guy get?
And does it come with a raise?
Probably not. Probably. I don't know what you get as Secretary of State. Probably a quarter. And I think you probably get 300 if you're, you know.
Let's see here.
That's an interesting thought. So, and I would say this. There is
250.
Yeah, that's right.
250.
250. You want a 250. So you get 250 grand. There is no job outside of the president that, and you could even make it as an individualistic thing. The Secretary of State may be the hardest job in all of Washington. Because the president, while has autonomy and it's his, but he still has to get through Congress for a lot of things. Where if you're Secretary of State and you got a lot of autonomy and you are also doing a ton of things, not to mention you're also the National Security Advisor, which is hilarious. And the amount of miles you get, too. Somebody said if China invades Mexico, we would take out China and the Mexican cartels. I have news for you. If China invaded Mexico, they would have to run through the cartels first. And I think they're going to find out that while the cartels supply them with a lot of fentanyl, they like it when you're on the other side of the country, the world, not in their country. Not in their country at all. Speaking of that, I came across this, and we are efforting to get this guy on. This is a guy who wrote a book about how horrible COVID was for kids. And it is a fascinating book, and it's called Out of Abundance of Caution. Is there a phrase that you hate more than that? Out of an abundance of caution.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Out of an abundance of... When you think about these things, out of an abundance of caution, we've decided that we're not going to do anything because we're terrified to make any decisions. But this guy came up, he did research, right? He did all this stuff because he wanted to find out what's going on with our schools, our kids. And I will tell you this. For all the stuff, I'm an adult, kind of. I have two little brothers who are special needs. Well, I have three of them that are special needs, but one of them, it didn't matter if he was going to COVID or not. You know, it's funny because my little brother Spencer, they kept trying to make him wear a mask when we go places. My mother's trying to tell him, you guys do know that he has a trach. So he would wear a mask. This is how stupid people are. He would wear a mask on his face, of which he doesn't breathe out of. Mm-hmm. There are also places that would make us pay for his dinner, even though he eats out of a tube. We're not getting a pizza, ma'am. So, but my two little brothers have really bad. They're on the spectrum. And one of them's got all kinds of issues. And they were doing well in school when COVID hit. And they're in California. And it was 2 years before they went back to school. And it destroyed he is still trying to recover from that. And this guy wanted to, find out essentially, hey, what's the reality of these things? Because, at first, out of abundance of caution, everybody stood back and said, okay. But it became more than that.
As the pandemic wore on, evidence began to mount that school closures and masking kids and separating desks by 6 feet wasn't lessening infection or mortality rates compared to European countries, for example, that quickly reopened school doors. Nevertheless, in some areas, schools stayed closed for nearly a year and a half. And according to a new book, we are now seeing the very real effects of that on children in their both learning and their mental health. In the book, An Abundance of Caution, author David Zweig also argues that the decisions made to keep schools closed were based less on actual evidence and more on contrived benchmarks and political tribalism. It's a damning assessment. And
it's not just a damning assessment. I mean, why don't you think about this? You're making decisions based in politics, not based in science. This is the same group of people, and trust me, they yell at me all the time. You live on the right, and you don't believe in science, and all the crap that they say. And I sit there and I laugh, and I think this is a group of people that told you stay 6 feet away. And we all remember the stupid things at the grocery store with what were they? The arrows, right? Which were hilarious.
Yeah. You could only go one direction.
Yeah.
Down each aisle.
Oh, they still together One Direction or no? And then on the other side of it, I mean, do you ever still go into stores and you see the remnants of something, whether it's the arrow on the ground or my favorite, which is the plexiglass that only covers about 36 inches and dangles from the ceiling?
Yeah, there was the plexiglass, and then there were the markers where you could stand. Yeah. I haven't seen those in a long time.
Because that was going to save us. And this guy was pretty open about how horrible everything was.
We all remember where we were, March 2020, when the globe, planet Earth, it felt like, shut down. Schools shut down. And 2 months later, in May of 2020, schools in Europe reopened. Nobody did that in the United States. Why the difference?
That's right. The end of April, beginning of May, 22 countries in Europe began reopening their schools. Millions of children. This wasn't a tiny schoolhouse in Tibet in the mountains somewhere with 12 kids. Millions of kids. And this was ignored or dismissed by our public health authorities and largely by the legacy media as somehow bizarrely irrelevant. And that set us on our course where we were basically divorced from what's known as evidence-based medicine or evidence-based public health.
Because politics. Once politics gets involved in anything, it's a nightmare. Once something becomes, what is the political outcome going to be, not the outcome itself, it's a nightmare. And Trump was the enemy number one. It wasn't COVID. It was Donald Trump.
Okay, so weeks go by, months go by. Children in Europe aren't dying en masse. Why didn't we then look and say, oh, hold on, we can send our kids back to school in America?
These are really good questions. I spend 450 pages trying to explain how is it that something so manifest, something so harmful and ridiculous when you had evidence existing, empirical evidence in front of us. Unfortunately, a large part of it has to do with tribalism in our country.
Politics.
Politics is a large part. Because of the public health establishment tends to lean in one direction politically, and also our legacy media shares that same political direction. anything that Trump said was basically radioactive. And
we should just say, too, like, you're not some right-wing crazy guy. You're not.
I approach this topic apolitically. I've written for the New York Times, The Atlantic, New York.
Okay.
I am not a right-wing ideologue by any stretch.
Okay.
This was hard for me to report and hard for me to take in.
I love the fact that he's very honest. Like, look, I'm a lefty, but yeah, the data points to it. And the data points to one thing in particular. Now, when this started happening, so I've got, been fortunate enough to travel the world, live all over the world. I've got friends all over the globe. They're telling me their kids, my buddy in Denmark, his kids are going back to school, like right after this thing happened. And Sweden, my God, Sweden, they just said, you know what? We're going to try to figure it out, and we're going to have to go with essentially the herd immunity, because we think it's where they messed up was herd immunity is right for the average person, but people who have comorbidities, in particular older people, you had to be more careful with them. But everything else they got right. But kids, they never worried about the kids because they knew right away it doesn't affect them. They don't transmit it very easily, and it doesn't affect them when they do get it. They barely recognize it. But this wasn't about this. This was about unions. This was about Trump.
Okay. So here's the thing. The American Academy of Pediatrics came out with a recommendation saying we think schools should open. A few days later, President Trump posts on social media, reopen the schools with, as you put it, many exclamation marks.
Right.
And what does the American Academy of Pediatrics then do?
The Academy reversed its guidance immediately after Trump's tweets. Gone was this idea. They initially very aggressively said kids need to get in school. They said, don't worry about 6 feet of distancing. If you can't do it, 3 feet is fine. Just get them into school.
They reversed themselves because Trump said open the schools.
I mean, we can't prove that that's what happened, but people can look at the timeline. There was nothing that changed epidemiologically in that span of time for them to change the rules. It happened immediately after Trump's tweet. And I have lots of other examples beyond the AAP that showed that there was a deep, deep type of tribalism and groupthink amongst these powerful institutions in our country, where we had this kind of manufactured idea of a consensus that didn't really exist in reality.
And that was it right there. It didn't exist in reality. And we were being told out on the right that you have to do this or else, because this is it. And it's Fauci, and it's all that you can't question. And this guy's coming from the left's perspective, and he's as real and honest as he can get. And it's funny, News Nation put him on, but I don't think he's getting on in many other places because they're embarrassed. They don't want to have that conversation because they just rather not. And because you pushed insanity. Remember Fauci sexual? He's so dreamy. He's an 85-year-old man who looks like a cartoon character. Am I right? He's just dreamy. By the way, new trailer dropped yesterday. Phenomenal. Yeah, that's Rick right there, for those of you who don't know. Rick would have fixed this in a heartbeat.
No, that was Fauci.
That was not.
No.
I am science. That guy. No, whatever they said, it was against Trump. If Trump would have said today, stick the kids in the classroom, everybody hide in your room by yourself and climb underneath the covers and don't let anybody get near you within 100 yards, they would have come out and said, everybody needs to get together and hug. Because it was about defeating him. We'll play some more of this later. It's really interesting. And this guy, like I said, he comes from the left's perspective. And he lays it out. 500 pages. They failed. And it was all because of politics. Coming up. A lot of other good stuff to get to today. We'll talk a little Alcatraz. The fact that people think this is a good idea is hilarious. Among other things we talk about is Chad Metzger, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff packed into an amazing supplement that you give your dog. Now, let's talk about how awesome this stuff is. I want you to try a $20 Jumpstart trial bag for free. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. Now, when you get it, it's 1 scoop a day. Take the 90-day challenge. In the next 90 days, you're giving them 1 scoop you watch what happens to your dog. Their immune system's going to change tremendously for the good. Their heart health is going to improve. Their energy level, their mobility is going to be so much better because they're going to be looser, because the aches and pains in their joints are going to start to go away. Why? Live enzymes inside that one scoop a day, and their fur and skin is going to improve a whole bunch. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens today and take the 90-day challenge. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. That's roughgreens.com/Chad for Rough Greens. Roughgreens.com/Chad. The Wellness Institute of Nashville right now, ready for you. Get on over there and celebrate the Big 47. That's right. In honor of Trump, 47% off right now. Non-surgical spinal decompression. So there's no pills, no spinal creams that open the spinal disc, take the pressure off your nerves. This is where the Wellness comes in, because they've got modern technology. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley are going to take care of you because they're just the best at what they do. And your back has had issues. You know that. Tried a lot of different things, but you want to get back in the swing of life, and your back's not letting you do that. So once you go in there and get a consultation, you're going to exam, x-rays, and then they're going to put a plan together. If you got an MRI, bring it with you and watch what happens. And the plan is built for you. With their technology and the way they do things, they are second to none. Call them today. Take advantage of the Big 47 going on at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009 or painisbad.com.
All right, drivers in Franklin, road work off-ramp block 65 northbound to eastbound 840, and then 840 eastbound to 65. The right lane block there by that road work we just mentioned. And a win in the Supreme Court for the Trump administration. We'll tell you about that more coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, my Lord. A win? A win?
Temporary win.
Temporary win. Somebody said, so tell me, Chad Romney, because that's what I'm going to call Chad Romney. Why isn't it either reopen Alcatraz or send them to Gitmo or send them to El Salvador?
Was it Ray that called you that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ray's go-to.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't even, why? Well, I don't know. I thought we were supposed to be saving money. Is that the goal? Was that the goal? It's like to save money or no?
Well, unless we give out $5,000 checks to people who have babies.
Yeah. Well, that's not happening. You get out $1 million check. You know what you're going to give? $1 million probably. What was it I saw yesterday? You know, they're like, hey, the program, there's been somebody, like one person has taken people up on the program. Nobody's, yeah. If it's about saving money. Now, if it's only about noise, it's a win. How many people do you think you're going to get on there? In the entire 29 years it was open, the most that was ever there, 275 at one time. Most of the time it was around 200. So
we'll leave the gift shop.
Spending $2 billion. I don't think I'd like to spend $2 billion or $1.5 billion to fix it. I don't. But we'll see. I mean, with Trump, you never know. Again, you never know. I just don't. It's a great talking point that gets everybody off things like the economy, things of that nature. It's a great talking point. But you're not going to, and the reason they closed it was too damn expensive. It was way too expensive to operate. And I thought we're supposed to be cutting cost. Thought that was the goal. Let's cut costs. Hey, so let me ask you guys this. If you're watching this and now you're on TV and you're like, you want to, you're thinking about taking the $1,000 and going home, but you're seeing it's $18,000 to apprehend and or hold somebody before you send them back. Would you try to negotiate? Say you'll turn yourself in for $4,500. 40. You're offering $1,000, man.
Call Bukele.
I'm still
open the door to El Salvador.
I'm still saving you 13 G's. We have to have someplace extra secure to put the worst of the worst. Yeah, I mean, again.
Why don't we just stick them on a raft and float them out to the ocean?
Yeah. So let Mexico pay for Alcatraz. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, because if Mexico pays for it, then they're going to want it. You don't want that, do you? No, it's nice. Leave it the way it is. There's plenty of places. Like if you catch enough people, and we're not going to get everybody here. I don't want everybody upset with me. You know what I do? I'm going to tell you the truth. We're not going to catch everybody here. We do not have the manpower. Last week we were talking about, was it 100 men versus a gorilla?
Yeah.
Why did the 100 men win? Because it's just numbers. And you've got ICE that is limited in the amount of money they have and the capabilities to cover the ground that they need to. So you're never going to get everybody you want. And you want to catch everybody. It isn't going to happen. And now with all the court cases going on, what happens if you catch 2 million people? You can't hold them indefinitely.
No, President Obama didn't build enough cages for that.
No, he did not. He tried, but AOC wasn't around.
Right.
Save everybody.
That's right. Just erect some big box prison somewhere out in the desert. But then you got to filter in, you got to be humane.
Yeah.
They're gonna need plumbing. You're going to have air conditioning, unfortunately, in this day and age. We can't just we just can't open the top and then pour them in and then close the top.
How about like what's his name used to, Judge Arpaio? Do you guys remember Judge Arpaio?
Yes.
So Judge Arpaio was out in Arizona. His thing was you would wear a pink kind of outfit, all the people, and you were intense in the summer. And you got the same thing. You got a bologna sandwich with nothing on it. His thing was, I want to make your life so miserable that you never want to come back. Now, these were people who had DUIs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There wasn't murderers out there.
Right.
But that was kind of his shtick. Maybe you do something like that. How about an arena? Right? We got a bunch of extra arenas.
Yeah. I bet you that fella down in Dallas, he'd talk about that.
Yeah, he might talk
Jerry
about
Jones?
Jerry Jones? You want to do what?
I see. How many months out of the year could we house it?
Oh, yeah. You know him. He'd be like, oh, my God, do you see how much money we're going to get here? We don't even need the Dallas Cowboys at this point. The gazillions we'd make. But you also have to be able to catch them all. And it is also a logistics thing. There's only so many people.
Chad, there's only 11 million.
Dude, it's been 11 million since I was a kid. I'm 54. There's 11 million over the last 4 years plus. What happened to the other ones? They didn't leave. I've always thought this. If we knew the real number, I think people would have lost their mind a long time ago. If we knew the real number.
Yeah.
What do you think it's closer? I think it's always been closer to like 22 to 25.
I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up, more of this. We'll talk some Alcatraz because it's fun. Bunch of other stuff to get to as well. Trump met with the Prime Minister of Canada today.
That's right.
They sat down and had a Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is good. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. And breaking news out of our nation's capital, the U.S. Supreme Court giving the Trump administration another temporary victory, allowing the ban on transgender people serving in the military while litigation continues. Here in Nashville, a grand jury in Davidson County's handed down 2 indictments related to the alleged leak of the Covenant school shooter's writings. Former Lieutenant Garrett Davidson arrested by TBI agents today in Portland in Robertson County, according to News 2. The second indictment pertains to official misconduct related to the Covenant school shooter's writings. And back to our nation's capital, where President Trump's hosting newly elected Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to talk about tariffs and trade.
For the most part, we're just going to put down a number and say this is what you're going to pay to shop. And it's going to be a very fair number. It'll be a low number. We're not looking to hurt countries. We want to help countries. We want to be friendly with countries. But you keep writing about deals. When are we going to sign? When? It's very simple. We're going to say, in some cases, we want you to open up your country. In some cases, we want you to drop your tariffs.
President Trump says the U.S. will refrain from attacking Houthis in Yemen after he says he got assurances from the terrorist organization they'll not attack American ships anymore.
They have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore. And that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that.
Well, the Houthis have said they're going to keep responding to attacks from Israel. And the Legal Defense Fund for Luigi Mangione. Organizers on the Give, Send, Go platform says it has surpassed $1 million. $1,030,000, 28,000 individual contributions of at least $20 for the man accused of fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in the back in December. Organizers say they hope to reach the $1.5 million mark soon. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Rumble of thunder, but still, if we stay in the 70s for the end of the week, drying things out for the weekend, getting some sunshine back slowly Saturday and through Sunday with highs eventually near 80.
USS, United Structural Systems, is ready to roll right now and help you. If you're worried about, I don't know, those little cracks that may have become big deals, things you can't see underneath there. Pipes maybe in the winter, they burst just a little bit, enough to make things ugly under there, or the water's getting in and you're ignoring it. Let United Structural Systems come out and give you a once-over. 30 years of experience in basement, crawl space, and waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, foundation repair, USS inspections, absolutely free. They're not going to sell you anything unnecessary. They're simply there to help, and they guarantee to be the best because they are. Call them today if you worry about things like mold, wood rot, foundation issues. 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855. Or you can check out everything they do online at USSTN.com. So the Supreme Court says you can ban the trans people?
For now.
For now.
While litigation plays out.
What did we talk about a couple weeks ago, guys? You don't ban them. You tell them they don't think the outfit you're wearing is working on the other side. And you send them over and you watch what happens. They will fight. So for now, that's working.
That's right.
So it's so weird that it's so weird because it gets to the Supreme Court and you think this is the end. No, they're just like, no. Let's let it work through the system and let's see what happens.
Kind of like what they did with the Abrego Garcia.
Yeah, have you noticed that the
We need you to facilitate.
Yeah, with this, because they have till Friday to come up with something because they have to be in court. Otherwise, everybody's going to be deposed. And nobody wants to be deposed because when you're deposed, you go under oath. And when you're a lawyer, it's even worse. And so far, they have not made great arguments in situations. So whether you, and I know a lot of you would like throw everybody out here, I get that, but we have a process here and we're going to follow the process. You got to do it right. And it wasn't that he shouldn't be deported. It's just where he was deported that was the issue. And that's it. And what are you going to say again? Hey, Bukelele, can you send him back? You can't send him back? You won't? Okay. I tried. They said no. He said no.
Bukele drives a hard bargain.
He said no chance. It's not going to happen. Chad, I want to, but I can't. I was watching a movie with him the other day. I forgot what it was. Was it The Wise Guys or one of those things? Where this guy points a gun at him and he goes, get on the ground. And he's all, no. It's just the way he said, no. Why? Because I don't want to. It's just like, it's just so hilarious because I love him. And I'm like, that's just great. He's awesome. We're going to do this next hour. I was going to do it here, but we're going to do it next hour. And how much money have they raised for Brian Thompson?
You mean Luigi Mangione?
I mean, yeah, for the Brian Thompson murderer.
$1,030,000.
Do you know the insanity of the world we live in?
Yes.
I think this is actually good in a certain way because he's going to have a very tough time claiming that he wasn't properly represented when he had more than the ability to afford good representation.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's absolutely true. I've often wondered, how does the money get to those people? Like, because somebody sets it up. They may have not set it up themselves. So who gives it to them? How does it funnel? And maybe it's the attorney that set it up. I want to get paid from this punk.
I mean, does somebody just write them a check?
I don't know. I have not done that.
At least 28,000 individual donations.
So it's $1,030,000.
Yeah. So and they say they're going to get to $1,500,000.
Okay. So $1,030,000. And so far, 28,000 people have given.
At least.
That's $35 on average per person. That is insane. And look, it's horrible, but if it was a father whose kid was denied something that would have absolutely saved their life and something that didn't, could you see somebody in rage do that? As horrible as it is, absolutely.
Sure.
This wasn't that. This was a rich kid who'd been radicalized at college. I mean, we talk about kids being radicalized in some of these places where around the globe where these kids go to school and they get radicalized when it comes to, Sharia law and the insanity. This isn't that. It's a kid who went to a school that cost $300,000.
Yeah, he's got the money to defend himself.
Oh, that's also the other side of it. Because mom and dad weren't poor because grandpa left a ton of money. So, I just, the whole thing is, it's disheartening is the fact that we're doing this. And a reason I'm saying this, and we'll get into a little bit more, If you guys don't know who Shiloh, I think Hendricks is or whatever her name is, she's a woman that was not caught on tape, just readily saying horrific things about a little child. And now dropping the N-bomb to a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. And now she's on her way to having $1 million raised for her, even though she did that. And then you've got, the guy, Carmelo Anthony in Texas, and the amount of money they raised for him. And I'm like, we're at this point now where if you're the victim, be damned to you. Because everybody else is the victim. You get shot in the back and you're killed. Well, that guy's the victim. You stole his bullet. You stab a guy in the heart, a kid in the heart, somebody your age. You're the victim here. Racism. You call a little child the N-word on numerous occasions. Racism. No, you're the victim. And I was like, is this where we are? We got to be better than this, don't you think, peeps? We can be better than this. I would like to think so. We'll see. But we'll get into it a little bit later because I got to make sure all the beeps and everything are out of here. Because I played it.
Because otherwise you get in trouble.
I played it for, I don't know. Bell just got new shoes, all right? I don't want him fired. He financed those.
I did not stop saying that.
So
I only finance my groceries, you buffoon.
Oh, that's horrible. Oh, my God. Yeah, somebody said what's really going to be funny is when Mangione's lawyers tell him the bill's $2.4 million.
That would be pretty funny.
He'll get it.
So, yeah, that is. It's just, I just, like I was sitting there today, the frustration I have with where we are and watching people defend this person who is yelling at a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old and calling them the N-word. And I'm thinking, and people are defending that. And I'm like, is that what? Like, how do we get here?
What possibly could a 5-year-old do to even remotely be able to justify that? It's a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's a 5-year-old. Somebody said they may not be 5. Okay, so they're 7. Like, when's the appropriate age, really?
Yeah, you can start dropping N-bombs when they're driving a car.
So, we live in the upside down world. We do. Did Bell get the old Reebok pump? He did. It's pretty awesome.
That is a lie. Stop telling lies on your own
Actually,
show.
he got BK.
Oh.
Blood killers. Got to put that FICO to work. Manson supporters weren't even that supportive. No, they weren't. These idiots. Well, it's Give Sin Go is what this place is. It's not the GoFundMe. But again, I'm fascinated by the thought of, like I said, if your child dies, your wife dies, whatever it is, and they declined you 100 times, you paid your premiums all the time, and it was something that had your child or your wife or somebody got it, which wasn't a super expensive thing, that you would have, your child or wife would have survived probably. I could see an enragement in somebody, especially over a child. Yeah, a woman. Yeah. But that wasn't this. That wasn't this. You stab somebody in the heart, and everybody's like, it's got to be racism. No, it doesn't have to be racism. Guess what? Sometimes stuff happens, and there's no race involved, even though they may be different colors.
Well, let's say that the kid was racist. That doesn't justify stabbing him in the heart.
No, it doesn't. But they turned it into racism because racism's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game of money. If I can get people to think that this was only based in race or whatever.
Then he's the victim and he can claim a grievance.
Yeah. And you know what's weird? It's like that kid's out of jail in Texas. And Mangione is not. That's kind of an odd thing, right? Like, and they lowered his.
Yeah, the kid in Texas is in what, a $900,000 house or something? That he picked up after the money started flowing in?
Because they were worried about, they needed protection. And they also needed new cars.
And I think they got an Escalade too.
And merch. But we live in a time when the dad of the guy whose son was stabbed reached out and tried to be kind and forgiving, and the family of the perpetrator has done nothing but tell them basically what a POS he is, how horrible he is, how dare he do the things he does. We live in a world of wackiness. Sometimes I sit there and, my job, I do this, I love this, but I sit back sometimes and think, what? What am I doing? Who am I angry at? Why? I mean, it's because it's about saying the craziest thing you can. That's it. That's what I've decided. It's about saying the craziest thing you can and taking the wackiest area of any position and running with it. What was it, Mistal? That Elie Mistal? This is what he said yesterday about being shot by somebody who's here illegally.
Why do I care what their status was when they committed the crime? If you can prove they committed a crime. I say in the book, if I get shot, if I get murdered by an undocumented immigrant, please tell my children I did not care that they were undocumented.
Right.
Why do I care?
Like, that's your social justice. Why do I care? But why are you saying that? Because it evokes a reaction. And that's all people are not interested in conversations. They're not interested in finding out the truth. They're interested in getting a reaction, getting likes, getting shares, getting, whatever, follows, and then moving on. Or raising money. We got to come up with something, guys. One of you needs to get stabbed. No, hold on. Maybe one of you needs to stab somebody. That might be
maybe one of us needs to stab you.
You don't want to do that.
Why not?
Because I'm going to be the person that's going to be raising us the money.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. I mean, I appreciate you, Bell, saying, yeah, I'll do it, but...
Go ahead. I'll take one for the team.
The question is who? Don't worry. We'll try to get you out really hard.
No, we've got to assault somebody and then convince the world that it was that person's fault.
Yes. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. So that's how we have to do it. Yeah. Quick change.
I stabbed Chad, but he made me.
That guy broke my hand when I hit his face. Somebody quick. Give me a give, send, go. Oh, Lord. A lot of stuff still to talk about. And again, I think this is important because I think these are things that are, how did we get to this point? You want to know how we're so divided and so angry? It's because, yes, we have algorithms, but we feed those algorithms. If you stop paying attention to them, they go away. And for whatever reason, we just don't do that. Coming up, more stuff that's fun, thought-provoking, and maybe a little humorous. Chad Benson, Super Talk 997. Bulwark Capital. Now, the 22nd, which is Thursday of this month, 5:30, they're doing a special webinar. It's a tariff edition. And my buddy Zach Abraham leads it. You can find out so much about what's going on in the world. Tariffs, investments, what's happening not just here, but globally, where the smart money's headed, how you protect yourself to the downside. That's what I love about what Bulwark does. It is so much more of an encompassing kind of look at things rather than we just trade this stock market. It's awesome. So what are they going to do? They're going to break down everything they do as well as give you their outlook for 2025. It's a free webinar. It is Thursday, May 22nd. It is 5:30. Okay, so register now and you go to knowyourriskradio.com, KNOW, yourriskradio.com. On top of that, You can also get a free risk review where they'll go through your entire portfolio and break down everything that's going on, where you're exposed, where you could use a little bit more oomph, if you will, and show you how they would build a portfolio specifically for you. Sign up for the webinar now, knowyourriskradio.com, KNOW, yourriskradio.com for Bulwark Capital. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investment involved risk, not a guarantee. Past performance not guaranteed future results. Trek 25206.
We can come the day you call us. We can come the day you call us. We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point. We can come the day you call us because we have a whole fleet of shiny big blue trucks. And thousands of snappy, happy people in bright blue uniforms. Tell them what we do again, Brian. We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point. Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something. Okay, ask away. Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound. Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point? There it is. Did you hear that? And sometimes you'll hear it when we say, we make junk.
Franklin still got that road work. Off-ramp block, 65 northbound to eastbound 840, then eastbound 840 to 65. Right lane blocked due to the road work. And Brentwood got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. Folks slowing down to get around 65 northbound near OHB. And a former Metro police officer charged in the alleged Covenant school shooters' writings leak. These stories and more at 2 on Super Talk. 99.7 WTN. Still got that road work. Off-ramp block, 65 northbound to east.
What's going on there, dude?
I think I was dreaming myself.
Are you? Here, let me give you something right here. You guys ready for this? This is a substitute teacher who had his first day in school. This is why I get these things just for you. Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. I thought y'all was lying to me on this app when y'all said that these kids didn't know nothing. These kids don't know shit. Like nothing, nada. They don't know basic math like addition, subtraction, division, fractions, multiplication. They don't know none of that, and it is really sad. They can tell you what a gay person is, what's bisexual, what they did do, what kind of gun this is, who sang this song, the lyrics to that, and they know all of that. They know what studs and dykes is, but they don't know what basic math is.
I can't believe we're going to get rid of the Department of Education.
It's funny, but it's also just sad because it's true.
Sad. It's super sad.
Absolutely, man.
Isn't it? I mean, it's funny in a very sad kind of way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you think of like, they don't know nothing. This guy was like, they're stupid. They know all of the stuff that doesn't matter.
Right.
And none of the stuff that does. It's like with all of the things in life that we want, they get cheaper. All the things in life we need gets more expensive.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's mad at the parents. He's mad at the school. He's mad. Like, he sounded like it was his first day as a substitute. He's like, I'm done.
That's it.
I am done. I'm not coming back. I'm frustrated. I get you're frustrated. I mean, we should all be frustrated. I mean, I don't know what happened to teaching the basics. What happened there? I mean, like with math, to this day, it's like, was old math broken? Were the numbers different?
All I know is I learned math through repetition.
Yes.
But like to do math like my son has to do today.
Yeah. It's like
I'm completely lost.
Math today is like, all right, Timmy has got 6 feathers. Roger has 9 oranges. Carol is a cow who lives in Kentucky. What's 7 times 4? And you got to show your work.
How many feathers is the bald duck missing?
You're like, where's the duck?
That's the feathers.
Let's be honest, though. All 3 of us had that teacher who looked us straight in the eye and said, it's not like you're going to have a calculator in your pocket.
You're right, ma'am. I have a computer in my pocket. One that's stronger and more powerful than took our astronauts to the desert to get filmed.
Shut up.
I had a Texas Instruments calculator.
Oh, do you have one of those? Always one kid in this school that had that calculator that was like the super duper calculator that was like, like an engineer.
And he was the nerd kid that took computer classes.
Yeah. I had a kid. John Jett was his name.
John Jett.
He would write his name and then he'd put a star by it. And I just look at him and go, dude, you are going to do my homework. So that's good for you. I'm just kidding. But it was just, he'd bring that calculator that was so big and it would have like fractions. And it was like an engineering, I was like, look at this thing could do. I'm like, dude, you know what else it could do? Boobless. Let me show you how this works.
Yeah. You could spell boobless and hell.
Who do you think they're talking about now? Huh? He's probably an engineer.
Probably is.
Probably is. Coming up, a lot of good stuff to get to. We're going to do that thing with that lady I talked about last hour because I think you guys need to hear it. I just need to make sure that Bell doesn't get fired. So we'll do that in the next hour because he just got new shoes. Put those on layaway. 8 months. Congratulations, Bell.
Would you just stop it before I come in there?
8 months.
It's the Jeff Show, Super Talk 99.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, a former Metro police officer indicted in the alleged Covenant school shooters writings leak. The writings published by the Tennessee Star. TBI agents and other law enforcement officers arrested Garrett Davidson in Portland and Robertson County today, booked into the Davidson County Jail on a $150,000 bond. TBI says Davidson used his position within the Metro Nashville Police Department to access restricted areas and took multiple criminal case files, internal investigation case files, original case files, and other documents without authorization. In our nation's capital, Stephen Portnoy reports the U.S. Supreme Court, split along ideological lines, says the Pentagon can begin removing transgender troops from the ranks.
The decision for now sets aside a lower court's order that blocked the transgender ban from taking effect. It means the military can begin discharging transgender service members while the case plays out. The Trump administration argues it is owed substantial deference when it comes to how it runs the military. The court's 3 liberals said they would have left in place the order of a federal judge in Tacoma, Washington, who said the ban was unsupported, dramatic, and unfairly exclusionary.
President Trump hosting Canada's new leader at the White House today.
President Trump continued his push to make Canada part of the U.S., a point of contention going into his meeting with newly elected Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Well, I still believe that, but you know, takes 2 to tango, right?
Carney insisted this is not up for discussion.
Having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
President Trump seemed undeterred and said repeatedly, never say never. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Well, back here in Nashville, no arrests this time, but another immigration enforcement operation last night in Nashville in the same area as over the weekend, late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Channel 4 says this involved Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers, unmarked cars, a white transport van, and what appeared to be ICE agents conducting traffic stops along Bell Road in Antioch. But again, no arrests last night, unlike Sundays. The FBI now telling ABC News they're increasingly worried about a network of violent online predators targeting teenagers. It is known as 764. Members go after teens through several popular platforms online, pushing them into dangerous areas like creating child pornography, harming family pets and themselves. The FBI has over 250 investigations ongoing connected to 764, including one centered on a girl coerced by members of the group in Connecticut. We get more from ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
I'm just going to shoot every kid I see, okay?
This call was a hoax, but part of a series of nightmare threats terrorizing Vernon, Connecticut. Investigators determining the threats came from overseas, but with the help of a teenage girl living right in town.
Law enforcement telling ABC News they believe the group was funded by someone identified as Bradley Cadenhead when he was just 15. He pleaded guilty in 2023 to child pornography-related charges and is serving an 80-year prison sentence. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
We're becoming story nationwide when it comes to all of the ice baby going on. I saw Mayor Freddie out there yesterday and all of the people out there. Man, it's just horrible what's happening.
Whole bunch of people out there.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're here illegally. There's a chance. Like, if you're here illegally, you would have to know at some point in time. There may be a chance. Even if, because remember, Obama deported a lot of people. Even if you were here and you didn't do anything wrong, you had to know at some point in time there may be a chance.
And if you don't have your papers on you, you better have your papers on you.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well said, sir. And if you're here legally and you don't have your papers and they can locate you, it's also kind of the issue. Not trying to lie there. Just maybe. We're not quite. I like it. Where are they? I don't know. No, he's being serious. He has no idea. They're probably in, I don't know, because do we even know where they had sent? Have they sent them anywhere?
Yes.
Was it Louisiana?
Yeah, the buses apparently went to the immigration detention facility there in Louisiana.
Oh, wow. Once you go there, it's pretty much it. You're on your way to a country that we've got some sort of thing with, even though you've done nothing in that country. Oh, goodness me. And, but what's the first thing that, they're out there? We should raise funds. Look, and I've said this, and some of you get mad. They don't deserve due process. That's what they get. Yeah, but they don't. Fifth Amendment. It says persons, not citizens. Persons. And you go back to Scalia and all. Scalia, I mean, the lion of the band, right? The guy, like that's, what do you say? Persons. When that guy's saying it, you're like, okay. Because you don't get much more absolute, this is how he interprets it because he reads it as it is. And it says persons. Now, I don't know how, I wonder, because so I did the math earlier, and no, he didn't get Keds, Jason. Somebody wants to know what kind of shoes you got.
Keds?
God, it's not very nice. He got a nice pair of would you get 311s? Is that what they were called?
No, I just thought the logo looked like that.
Oh, I thought that was pretty cool, 311s. So I did the math because and by the math, I have one of those awesome calculators. What did somebody, we were talking about calculators last hour because, that's what we do.
Well, we all had that teacher, though, who
the
was
TI
like, you
calculator.
have to know this because if you don't know it, you're not going to have a computer in your pocket. Yeah, actually, I do have a computer in my pocket, and it does a lot more than just add numbers.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, no, I don't need math. So the math is crazy, guys. If you guys want to know the real math on how long it would take to get people out of here, because somebody on the YouTube, I think her name is Jody, doesn't like me. Says, I don't ever come up with anything. No, look, I am super positive. I love what we're doing. The most important thing was stopping the flow of people coming here. And we need to figure out what we're going to do for real with a lot of other people. But we do need to catch the worst first. But if we were to try to deport everybody with nobody else coming in, estimates, are you guys ready for this? Take a wild guess. What do you think the estimates is? If it's
12 years.
For 13 million.
12 years.
What do you think, Ken?
I have no idea.
43.3 million. 43.3 years.
I was off a little bit.
You were off. Now, that is for 13 million. We think there's 22. It would be closer to 72 years.
Well, and it's the federal government, so you had to add 25% for incompetency.
Absolutely. Too. And so when you look at deportation agents, it's 5,500 to 6,000. They don't have the money. They don't have the manpower. So that's why offering some people money to leave is a good idea. I don't know how many people are going to take that up. And then the hope that you put enough scare in people, which is what's going on here. But if you're sitting there thinking it's going to take that long and you're looking at these numbers like a lot of people are, because they're not, I didn't come up with these magical numbers as much as you guys would like to think I did, because you're so negative, Mr. Romney. But you know that there are people out there advising them, look, just hang low and, don't be stupid. And carry your papers, as Ken said. And if you don't have your papers, get your papers.
If you got a card, have your card.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we only have 5,500 to 6,000 actual deportation agents, if we, I was thinking about this the other day, how long do you think if we rounded up everybody today and say it was 20 million, how long would it take to get through the court system?
Well, and where would you put them?
That's it. Yeah. Where would you put them? So I don't know. And a lot of people said, Chad, they waived their due process when they didn't waive their due process. And many of them have come here through the asylum process. That's the issue. So that a lot of these, especially with Biden, because Biden made the asylum process pretty damn easy.
Wait a minute. They were saying that they waived their due process because they committed a crime?
Yeah. No. When they came across the border, that's what people are trying to say. That's not the way it works. That's the whole point of due process.
Yeah, the whole point of due process is to hamstring the government so they have to do things slowly.
Which is what you want in real life. As frustrated as we are. And we all are. We all are. And you know what? I want to see what Congress does to fix this problem. Because they can't rely on Trump to be the king of executive orders all the time. Because I feel like they just sit there and go, he signed another one. That's us off the hook there. Because they haven't done anything. And this goes for both sides of the aisle. Because both sides of the aisle have spent decades doing nothing when it comes to anything, when it comes to immigration. They haven't done anything. And everybody's had their opportunity. And go back to Reagan and, everybody thought that was it. Nothing happened. So where's the wall? A lot of people, they hit me up. Where's the wall? I thought the wall was going to be built by now. I thought they were going to at least making some efforts towards it. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. But we need to be serious about how we're going to fix this. And how we're going to fix this is, first, yes, we got to get the worst first out of here. But then we have to have a real plan. And a lot of that comes first and foremost with Congress. Can you come up with enough money to give the people that are on the ground and to expand what they're doing to go after even more people? Because it's a numbers game. And right now, you're outnumbered in a major way. And the difference between, they talked about it the other day when I was looking at this, I was watching this interview, but they also had this map about where people came across the border were relative to now. And now they've scattered out across the country. So that makes it much harder because you're not going to have the same kind of manpower in certain areas. And you come here to Tennessee, well, you're going to get a little bit more help than you're going to do in Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or Philadelphia. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And I know it's frustrating. I know a lot of people get frustrated out there. And don't shoot the messenger, by the way. I didn't come up with the Constitution, but I think it's the greatest thing ever written outside of the Bible. Due processes for invading foreigners.
Due process is not about the criminal. It's about the government.
Yeah.
It's about hamstringing government to make them do things slowly and properly. Just like the Second Amendment, that is to hamstring the government from being able to take your weapons.
Yeah.
First Amendment, it's to hamstring the government from being able to silence you.
Yes. And Second Amendment is if the first one doesn't work. So
I read that somewhere.
Somebody said I would put them in Nome, Alaska. So have SCOTUS preside over 20 million and render a verdict. Yeah, that's not the way that works. So, and this, here's a perfect example of something, and that I've said it for years. So when it comes to work, right? Because the thing is, if you want to get people to go home, people would much rather be broke where they're familiar than in a place where they could be stuck. You tell everybody, and nobody has to go and they say this. Maybe Trump does. If you're caught hiring people that are here illegally, now, if they've supplied you with information and you've gone through whatever the E-Verify is, you can't go after people like that. But if you're caught and you have people that are hired and they're here illegally, you are fined X amount of dollars. The second time, your business is closed for 90 days. You watch what happens. That'll dry up fast. And people say, well, you're going to hurt small business or you're going to hurt medium. And you know why it won't work? Because the people that depend on the people that are willing to work in factories and willing to work in areas where it's tough, they're going to have the ear of the president and the commerce secretary and everybody else fast because money matters. So it's this weird game of, yeah, let's do that. But hold on a second. But yeah, let's do that. But if you were serious, I love it, right? You make it so it is after your first offense, you're done. And that is your first offense of knowingly hiring somebody. Because people can get Social Security cards, they can get a lot of things, and then go through the process. And you might have to say, because you can't ask them, is this illegal? Because there are certain things you can't do. Why does everybody get mad at me when Bell says stuff?
Because that's the way it works. Whose name's on the door?
Yeah. So
it's the Chad Benson Show. You catch the heat.
So somebody said the J6ers disagree. What do they disagree with? They don't want due process? Of course they do. Everybody wants due process. And just because they have due process doesn't mean they're not going to be sent home. Doesn't mean any of that. It's just this is who we are. This is the beauty of our nation. This is how we separate ourselves from everybody else. As frustrating as people may be. Sally says, oh, my God, we have to rely on Congress to do our jobs. They're not going to do their jobs. See, there's a perfect example of what happens with Congress when they're actually forced, when some of these things get shot down in the Supreme Court, which some of them will. Trump knows that. He threw a lot of things against the wall. Not everything's going to stick. But to get to the point where you want to be, you have to fail fast, knowing full well that some of these things are going to happen. Then it's up to Mike Johnson, not a real name, to sort this out. What does that look like? Is he going to be able to do it? Can they get things through? Does he have the cojones enough and the power to go up against some of these other people that may not be on board with him? I don't know, because he's not really been tasked with anything. They can't even get a damn budget done, for God's sakes. Every time we turn around, they're like, all right, this time in July, we may vote on it. So what do you guys think of apples that are those apples? I'm way too lenient? Oh, look at this. So Sally says, if you hire an illegal knowingly, the first offense, $10,000 fine per person here illegally. Second offense, $25,000. And then you lose your license for 5 years. Third offense, $75,000. You lose your license for life. And 10 years in jail. That is pretty good. So, we'll see. I mean, if you start to take away the things that they come here for, you watch what happens. But I'm here to tell you guys, and it may piss some of you off, big business in certain areas, they say, we're supporting this guy, but if there's any way you can ignore some of this, that'd be great too. And that right there is also an issue. And that's that crony capitalism insanity that we have way too much of anymore. Coming up, Trump wants to have fun at Alcatraz. We'll talk a little bit about that. Should we be saving money? Or should we be building on Alcatraz? Do we build up? Do we put all kinds of things on it? Do we give tours still? Who knows? Talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk, 99.7. Birch Gold. Times when things are, well, uncertain globally, gold has always been one of those things where an asset that people head to. How about diversifying when it comes to you, your portfolio, and the things you have as you've built hard? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to text the word Benson to 989898 today for Birch Gold. talk to the gold company that I swear by, Birch Gold. They're who I buy my gold from. I send my family there. They buy their gold from there. It is a smart thing to do. You know, they're talking about the Rio reset, which is coming up with the BRICS, and could something happen with the dollar if everybody can decouple from it? How would that look? Gold is a safe haven. Start with maybe your savings account, right? Get it over to a metals-backed IRA and watch what Birch can do for you. Simple and easy. They're going to send you out an info kit. Nothing crazy outside of that. No hard sale, no hard pressure. Text the word Benson now to 989898 today for Birch Gold. Berta Technologies is awesome. No background checks, legal in 50 states, ships directly to your door, 22,000 five-star reviews. It is incredible. So imagine having something that, as they call a launcher, it is a less lethal self-defense pistol, which is awesome. Berta's right here in Franklin. And they're nationwide. They're incredible. But you can go there right now and practice. And I talk about this a lot. And people are like, well, you know, I already go and shoot. Yeah, but how expensive is that? Imagine going somewhere, spending virtually nothing, and having a great opportunity to practice on a daily basis, even be able to practice at home, because many people can't afford and can't do that. They just don't have, you know, you're not shooting guns in the house. This is what Byrna delivers for you. They're amazing. And remember, carry them anywhere, no background checks. It is incredible. Plenty of police and force across the country uses Byrna. Try it now and check out their new Byrna CL. It is the world's smallest, most powerful, less lethal self-defense pistol, and it packs a punch. And check out, get 10% off right now when you go there to Franklin. They're open 7 days a week. Call 615-558-0534, 615-558-0534 for Byrna Technologies.
A former Metro Nashville Police Department lieutenant indicted. We'll tell you why coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lot of you chiming in. Mad at Bell, but mostly for me. Bill's all like, well, you know, because your name's, I get my name's on it, but you get mad at me when I throw you under the bus.
Right, I'm allowed to do that.
For your, what was it called? When I said earlier, putting all your shoes on layaway? That's not true. You ever put anything on layaway and go visit it? Hey, you guys want to come over? I paid for half of that already.
I mean, does layaway still exist?
I think so, yeah.
Does it? Because I remember that being a thing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My mom doing it, but
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever put anything on layaway.
I think that not many places do it. And at Christmas time, you might get it, it's like, hey, come purchase a portion of this, and every couple of weeks, come pay it off.
Hell, I was walking around Rivergate Mall on the weekend when I first went looking for shoes, and there were stores that had signs up that literally said, you can pay in the option to pay in four weeks or 4 months or whatever it was. It's like literally you can't go in and buy a pair of sunglasses without having to pay for it over 4 weeks. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's because it's trying to get people to continue to live the way they did and for you to make a ton of money. And you go in and you're like, oh, cool, I just bought $100 I don't even know what Ray-Bans cost, like $100 or whatever. And probably $400 last time I bought sunglasses. And so you've got somebody who's going to pay $400 for their $100 glasses, and you've got them. But it seems easy because you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I got $100 and I was going to spend them on glasses, but if I can only give you 20 and then keep the other 80, I got $80 to spend. No, you just gave them 400. You're down 320, and you got to pay that off in 5,000 years. That one check cashing place, when I was reading that lady for that like $1,500 thing she took out and she's been paying on for years, it's like $12,000 in interest.
Wow.
It's like somebody's going to come over and break your legs. You would wish. It would be easier. It would be easier at that point. But I'm surprised. It is. Affirm is the one big one. I don't know some of the other ones are. And I'm telling you, man, Ken, you and I talk about it all the time.
There's a new one that's getting really big, and eBay started using it. I forgot the name of it, but it starts with a K, and that was the sign that I was seeing on the storefronts in Rivergate.
Okay. So everywhere. Hey, you can pay this sweatshirt off in 38 easy installments. It's only $2.99. You're like, okay, it's a $12 sweatshirt, but that's $100. Oh, don't worry. Because what was the other thing? Remember, the first 3 months is interest free.
Interest free.
Because they know you're never going to pay it off in 3 months. And then the interest goes up to 47.985%.
Right, on the first day of the fourth month.
And you can, or if you miss if you miss a payment, like your APR is like 0.2, I got a great APR, then your payment's late, even though you sent it in or whatever. And what happens? Oh, well, if you missed it, now it goes up to 47.95% or whatever it is. It's just crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Klarna, that's what people are saying it is.
That's what it is. That's the one.
Somebody said they put their groceries on layaway. Bullseye gun and
have
pawn.
Gotten so expensive to begin with. How crazy more expensive do they become when you pay for them over time?
That's why you got a crock pot.
Yes.
Oh, God, I love crock pots.
You got a crock pot, man.
That's it. Crock pots.
Throw everything in there and eat on it for a couple of days.
That is the beauty of crock pots. You're like, I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in here, and no matter what it is, I'm going to come back, and my house is going to smell amazing. It's going to be delicious.
Yeah, you walk into your house and you want to eat immediately. It smells so good.
And I'm sure somebody's had this. When's the last time you had a crock pot? You put stuff in there, you're like, that was gross.
Never happened.
Never.
Well, it actually did to me. Well, my family thought it was gross. I made crock pot hot chocolate last December, and it was delicious. The only problem is it tasted a little bacony.
Where's the problem?
Well, the family didn't like the
your family's
the
weird.
Light taste of bacon in all the chocolate.
Just out of curiosity, why would we be making hot chocolate crock pot?
Because it was good.
No, but was it Christmas time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's got to be Christmas time. I mean, because you wouldn't just do that randomly.
Yeah, I took heavy cream and then 2 bags of those little Hershey chocolate chips.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it was good.
Look at that. That's the name of my band, by the way, Heavy Cream. We're actually touring with regular cream. And our cousin's whip. Coming up, more of the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, 2 indictments handed down against a former Metro Nashville Police Department lieutenant. He's accused of leaking documents related to the Covenant school shooting investigation, specifically the shooter's writings. Garrett Davidson booked into the Davidson County Jail today on a $150,000 bond. TBI says Davidson used his position to gain access to restricted areas and took files without authorization. The Covenant school shooter's writings ended up being published by the Tennessee Star. In our nation's capital, with the justices split 6-3 along ideological lines, the U.S. Supreme Court says the Pentagon can begin removing transgender troops from the ranks. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy with more.
The case will continue playing out in the lower courts. For now, the justices have set aside an injunction that blocked the ban from taking effect. It means the Trump administration can begin discharging transgender service members. Advocates say more than 15,000 transgender troops are currently serving, and they say there's no evidence it's harmed the military's effectiveness. The administration argues it is owed substantial deference when it comes to how the armed services are run.
Tomorrow's the deadline that you must show a real ID to get through airport security and into federal buildings. A passport or military ID will do as well. ABC's Alex Stone reports there is now a rush at DMV offices to get those real IDs.
Well, the real ID deadline is Wednesday. Not having a real ID or a passport in its place will not stop passengers from flying. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem told Congress passengers who don't have a real ID will be funneled into a separate line to confirm their identity and be warned they need to get one. At LAX, this man says he's not in too much of a rush, even though he's flying out.
I don't really feel like going to the DMV. However, it's probably a priority that I need to go.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
A brief dry break before more rain returns to the mid-state. I'm WSMV4 First Alert Meteorologist Stefano DiPietro. Plenty of sunshine today. Temperatures are in the 70s this afternoon. Tomorrow you'll want to keep the umbrella handy for a few rain showers throughout the day. We will stay near 70. 10 seconds. Friday, a couple of rain showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder, but still we stay in the 70s for the end of the week, drying things out for the weekend, getting some sunshine back slowly Saturday and through Sunday with highs eventually near 80.
Talking about guys over at Busy Bee, actually, right now, Nathan, out there working hard, and they're ready to work hard for you. Let me tell you something. Busy Bee, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, wants you to know that the TVA rebates have been extended. So the mini split, 17, C or 2 or higher, you get an $800 rebate. Get up to 12 months, no payment, no interest. We're talking about that's real, though. I'm trying to stick it to you. Okay? Depending on credit, lenders' offers may vary. Busy Bee has rebates on AC tune-ups, $50 rebate for each one. So when you join the Beehive Club, which I tell you every day to do, you get your spring tune-up and then $50 rebate. Then the fall tune-up, and then the $50 rebate, and then voila! Says that right there. You just paid for your Beehive membership for a year. And get this, Busy Bee files the rebate, which is wonderful. That means you don't have to do any of that stuff. So many great things going on at Busy Bee right now, including $300 off mainline sewer or water lines, $500 electric heat pump, water heater, or whole home water filtration system. And now this is awesome too. Buy one Beehive membership, get another one of equal lesser value for free. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call 775-7833, 775-7833, or visit busybhvc.com. Right here. Rough Greens. RUFFgreens.com. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, Omega 369, all this incredible stuff. Power packed into a supplement you give a dog once a day. They have Meow Greens as well. If you got a cat, give my cat that. Now, Rough Greens is incredible. I'll tell you why. 1 scoop a day is going to change your dog's life. I want you to try it. I'm going to give you a Jumpstart trial bag for free. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. On top of that, and this is what's great, take the 90-day challenge. In the next 90 days, you're going to see a massive change in your dog. First 30 days, fur, energy. Day 60, mobility. Their joints are starting to loosen up. Aches and pains starting to go away. Their fur's even fluffier, less shedding, and immunity stronger. By day 90, heart health is incredible. Immunity stronger. Their digestive tract's better. It's like a whole new dog. Try it now. Jumpstart trial bag, $20 value for free, and take the 90-day challenge. My good friends over at Rough Greens, RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Use my code Chad. RoughGreens.com/Chad. Use code Chad. Dun, dun. Man, some of you are not happy. I got a lot of people texting us talking about what are the worst places to get for credit. I'm like, I don't know if I can blow everybody out here. Oh, my Lord. So this has gone viral, and I spent the last 2 commercial breaks, we need to make them longer if we're going to have this, going through this thing. So this happened, I think, in Minnesota. I think it's Rochester, Minnesota. It's Soldier Field Memorial Park in Rochester, Minnesota. This person, Shiloh Hendricks, had her child out there. They were playing on a, by the way, very old school playground. Not like old school like what we used to play with, but older because they still have metal stuff, which is crazy because that right there alone should freak everybody out in today's world. And so apparently a young kid took something from her kid. And by young, some people say the kid was 5. I don't know how old the kid was. It wasn't a 20-year-old. I do know that. And she went off and called the little boy the N-word and wasn't afraid to continue, as she was being filmed, to say that. And by the way, the argument, Shamarker Omar, I think he likes saying the N-word as much as her, which was kind of made Belle and I laugh because he just kept repeating it as if, well, I could say it now if she said it, and I'm not going to get in trouble for it. So here we go. This is Shiloh and her insanity.
Did you call him the child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay.
Yeah. And it went on from there. And now you've got people defending her. So was it Matt Walsh comes out yesterday, very excited about this because she's raised like $700,000 on Give, Send, Go. And that means that what do they say? That cancel culture now is gone because she can raise this. And I wish we were talking about better things that she said, but cancel culture is gone and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, this cannot be where we are. So you got a guy who kills, allegedly, a CEO who's over $1 million raised in Mangione. You've got a guy who stabs a kid in Dallas and another kid. So they're both, 17, 18, in a fight, kills him, and he's raised, I didn't even know how much, because here's the thing, there are several different Give, Send, Goes, Now you have this lady who is raising tons of money. She's over like $700,000. And the little boy, by the way, who got called the N-word, they've raised $350,000 for him. What the hell's going on?
You can call me a cracker if it makes that kind of money.
You can call me whatever you want to call me. I was telling Belle, are we at the point now, it's like you're going to go up to a kid and go, look, I don't want to do this, but I think both of us can benefit here.
Like, we both can make a little coin on this, so work with me.
Yeah, this is insane. And you can't defend this. I'm sorry. I don't care what the child did, right? If your child would have, if that child would have thrown your child off the giant thing and stomped on his head, and no, sorry, none of that. Took something from your child, and you know, and by the way, I don't think this Omar Kara, I don't think that's his kid. I don't think that is. I just think it's the guy who wanted to run around saying the N-word, feeling like he'd get around with it because he said it way more than she did. And I thought they were going to fight. And this cannot be who our country is. We're at a point now where, so this is the as somebody said, this is the right-wing version, the white ring version of what's taking place over there in Texas. You like that, Bill? The white wing version?
I did. I actually like that a lot.
How do we get here? You know, we can do better, people. You're aware of that, right? We can do better. I mean, I don't, again, I'm trying to understand it. And I can look at this and say, all right, some people are stupid. They say ridiculous things. She continued to do it over and over. You don't need to reward her for it.
Yeah, that was my thought. It's like we don't need to reward bad behavior.
So she said the fundraiser was called Help Me Protect My Family in a very dire situation. Well, she's learned, right, from what's going on in the Carmelo Anthony, I think his name was. So the Rochester Police Department previously told Newsweek it was looking into the incident, saying it was aware of the video that was posted on social media and has received multiple calls related to it. And we'll see what happens to this. She didn't threaten to kill, because that's what the guy kept saying. Did you threaten to kill? Did you threaten to punch the kid? And she kept saying no. And speech, as I talked to, I'll play some of it tomorrow. Spoke earlier to a guy named Tyler Coward, who is he works for FIRE.
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer for free speech. And we had a great conversation today about a lot of different things. And this is one of those things that, yeah, it's horrible. Is it protected by the First Amendment? I would say probably. You didn't threaten to kill. You didn't threaten to punch.
You weren't inciting violence.
You weren't inciting violence. You're just an awful person.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So everybody's I agree with you, but don't rappers get rewarded for it? Yeah, but they're not yelling at 5-year-olds. And if a black person wants to yell at each other, wants to say that out loud, that's fine. Again, you could say it. Remember, the whole thing is, well, you could say it, but there's consequences. The consequences, she's going to make $1 million. You know what I saw people posting yesterday? Good for her. She got generational wealth. It's like she won the racist lottery. Yeah, I'm, the whole, somebody said Matt Walsh is awful. Is the woman saying that black? Nope, she is as white as the day is long. And
blonde, too, wasn't she?
Blonde, inked up, which gives us inked up people a bad name because it makes you think like, everybody there's like that. And, it's funny, when I was doing voiceovers and that was, my buddy says, hey, dude, can you help me out with this financial firm? Because I need somebody to set leads for me. Can you run this room for me? So I hired this girl she's beautiful, but she was inked up everywhere, which normally is cool, except for the fact that she looked like she was an extra in American History X. She had swastikas, bolts, 88, all of that stuff. Nicest girl in the world. Her best friend at work, little old chunky black lady. They were best pals. And she goes, she goes, I'm not really into it. She goes, my stepfather and my mom, they run, he was a prison, one of the Nazi lowriders, and this, but
it was not really into it. Why you put the symbols on your body?
I think she did when she was really young because she was only like 21.
So she's had a change of heart since.
Yeah, I think she had a change of heart. But still, it is. If you've never, it's shocking. It's like it is. You're sitting there going, wow. All of a sudden you've got all the stuff all over you. Again, knock yourself out. And that's what I told her. So as long as you come here and you work and you don't cause any problems, that's fine. This lady was a grown woman yelling at a child. I don't care if you didn't call the child the N-word. The way that you're going after that person was insane. And trust us, everybody who's had a child knows that there's always that kid in the park. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. Maybe can do and say some stuff, push the kids. You're like, I don't want any part of this, and you can get frustrated. But this was over the top. And the rewarding for it is even worse in my mind. Just like with Mangione, as horrible as what he did. The fact that 28,000 people have given on average $35, and that is growing, is crazy. It is. But if that's your money,
get down to the basics with Mangione too. It's like he's literally being celebrated for taking the law into his own hands. If there was a legitimate legal complaint that he had against that insurance company, murdering the man who ran it does not become suddenly some morally acceptable action.
No, he's not Robin Hood. This guy wasn't somebody who was. And as I said, and I've always said this about it, if you were a father whose child got denied for something that could have saved that child, that everybody kind of agrees would have given that child a chance, could I see a grieving parent do something? Yes. Okay. I could see. This was not that. And for anybody out there who's trying to justify this woman, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And then there was a picture, supposedly she dated a black guy. And I'm like, oh, well, then that gives her all the...
There's a pass.
Did she drop the GGA? Like, trying like street lingo. No, she said it straight up. If you listen to it, she said it straight up.
Yeah.
And the other one was, here's one for you. Whites made up the name. You damn right I'll use it, and I'm not afraid. Solid.
Well, hope that doesn't work out poorly for you.
Yeah, I know. Shame, 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 shame.
Shame. Shame.
Shame indeed. Coming up, wrap it up. Matt's here. I see him wandering around. He's got a vest on today. I had a vest on yesterday. It's Vest Tuesday. Matt Murphy, straight ahead. Chad Benson Show. Oh, we're back. Matt Murphy's in the house. My assumption is you had a meeting today.
I did not. Well, I
or
guess
you had a photo shoot because you're hoping to go to Patagonia.
I had an appointment at one of my fine sponsors, the Dr. Brian McLaughlin, Dr. Stephen Poss Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Had to check up on I had to look presentable, if that's your question.
You looked the part, sir.
And I'm
You looked the
trying.
part.
And it was a little nippy this morning, and now it's hot as Hades out there.
It is. I like it.
That time of year, baby.
So what's going on, man?
I don't know.
What are you going to talk about today?
So I was listening. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because I think I can help heal the disconnect.
Okay.
Because I'm driving in and I'm listening to my favorite midday talk show host on Super Talk 99.7 WTN between noon and 3, Chad Benson.
Like I say, okay. Got new shoes, by the way.
And did he really?
Yeah, solid.
Trip to the Goodwill?
Yeah, put them on layaway.
So I think here's where the disconnect is. We talk about due process, right?
Yes.
What process are illegal aliens due?
Well, if you believe in the Constitution and what they've said in the past, it is persons, not citizens.
No, my question was, what process are illegal aliens due?
Well, when they're taken into custody, the process that would be allotted in that where they have a defense and an opportunity to plead a case, whatever that case may be, as minor as it may be and as quickly as they may be moved upon. Outside of that, I don't think they're due anything.
This is what they're due. They're due a visit in front of an immigration judge.
Yeah.
And the immigration judge has to establish whether they're in the country illegally or legally.
Yeah, that's it.
And if they're in the country illegally, they get removed.
Yeah, that's it.
And
not just removed from.
And by the way, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, not just grabbed and put on a plane. Give them the process.
Where in America is that not happening?
I don't even know where. No, I don't. I think it's always happening. That's what. But the thing is, people don't.
Then why do you keep talking about due process?
Because people keep saying no, they don't deserve due process. You should just put them on a plane and send them out of here.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they're due a visit in front of an immigration judge. Are you here legally or illegally? And if you're here illegally, then the law states and courts have stated since time began that you get removed to your country, and then you state your country of origin, and then you get removed.
Yeah, but the thing, I think what people want is if you find somebody and they're here illegally, you should just be able to take them and remove them without any of that portion of the seeing a judge or being.
But it's not like it's some grand gonna take 18 years. I don't know that I necessarily believe that it would take 43 years if we actually wanted to do it.
Well, that's if we're gonna. Well, yeah. I mean, with 5,500 people,
let's hire some more people.
Well, that's just it. It wouldn't take so long if we get the right amount of people and they allocate those things, and you have to hire more judges. That's the other side of it. Because if the due process...
I don't think you do. I think you can do a lot of this en masse. And I think the court decision down in Texas gives us the ability to do that, because when they created that class down in Texas, that judge who ruled against Trump in a way, and then he said, yeah, we can move forward with the class action. Well, if the Supreme Court acts as a class...
But here's where this has been brought up a couple times is if you've applied for the asylum, you have a right to have then an attorney, not just... If you're here, if you just snuck across the border, that's a different story. So, and therein lies the problem, because the last 4 years, it was as easy to apply for asylum as to go to McDonald's.
Yeah, you could do it on the website.
Yeah, so that's part of that big issue.
But I just, it's a matter of, how long, and I was talking about this yesterday, how far back we want to go, and then at what point do we as a society decide we're going to give these people an opportunity to figure out how to stay here, maybe pay a fine, whatever, because this has been going on for 45 years.
Yeah. Since you and I are kids, we go back and remember. You had Tip and you had Reagan, and they said, all right, this is a one-time thing. We're going to build a wall. It's never going to happen again.
And the Democrats never funded.
Yeah. And, it's like this is the nightmare that's been going on. At what point, if you've been here for 25 years, you never committed a crime, and your kids have grown up here and they've gone to college, I don't see a reason why we need to kick out.
Reagan took a beat. I mean, just looking over history, Reagan took a little bit of beating from conservatives, from Pat Buchanan conservatives. because Reagan gave them the 3 million. He amnestized about 3 million people. And a lot of people, even at the time, history dictated, I was 10.
Yeah.
But people at the time were like, it's the same thing they did with Bush. Bush blinked on it in 2008.
Yes, he did.
And they didn't manage, the Gang of Eight didn't manage to amnestize those folks. So it's not like this, we haven't gone through this in the past. I mean, I think it's easily solvable. I like that we're cutting we're getting the easy cream off the top.
Which is the most important. Get the worst first, getting them out of here. Get the ones that are bad out of here. We recognize that. And then what can we do in a real way that is going to get people moving their own selves out of here, self-deporting, and then finding out, even Trump said, what do we do? We got to find out some of these people may have,
But a lot of these liberals that are reacting to what's happened in Nashville, I'm just confused what they think should be happening.
Yeah, see. And you know what?
I don't really understand.
No, I don't think. And it's like the whole part with, if you ask anybody that's here illegally, they all recognize at some point in time, there could be a knock at the door. Everybody recognizes that.
I don't know, but see these people on TV, they're crying and wearing.
Yeah, it's good money.
We're
starting to find that out today.
Where's my? So I'm not having any guests because we're keeping it wide open because we invited, I think, 13 or 14 Democrats on the show yesterday. Sent out an email saying, I understand that you're very, very concerned about these illegal aliens that have been taken to Louisiana out of Nashville. So we talked to the Heidi Campbells and the Afton Benns and the J.R. Clemens and the all of them. Yeah, and we've invited them on the show to make their case what should be going on.
They're not going to come on.
Well, of course they're not.
No. And it shouldn't be that hard.
No, nobody can. Do you agree with borders?
Yeah.
You kind of start where we can agree.
Because if you don't agree with borders, then why should why should anybody agree with taxes?
Well,
if you're not going to agree with the borders, why should we pay taxes? Because I'm not in a country. I'm just in a piece of land.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a piece of property, leave and come back and whatever. Right. So at some point we can agree, right? I feel like there's a place where we can walk this back and agree on things.
And the other thing is, too, if you do give people due process and then you say that's all we want and then they still get the order to remove, you got what you wanted and you didn't like the outcome. So now you're still freaking out.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
He's the man with a plan and a vest. Matt Murphy, straight ahead. Chad Benson bidding you adieu.
No new shoes, no peace.
No shoes, no peace.